Well, about myself, I was born and bred in Lusaka. I grew up in Lusaka with 2 short stints on the Copper Belt and Northern Province when my parents were working there. But I went to University of Zambia, where I got my degree in civil engineering in 1985. That's when I graduated, and I had the opportunity to work for large construction companies then, Apollo Enterprises. I worked for Mindstone, and also had 5 years working stint in Botswana in the construction sector. I also worked as a University of Zambia resident engineer for about 11 years. I was looking after the infrastructure, and thereafter I became a lecturer at the University of Zambia after getting my master's in environmental engineering. Thereafter I had the opportunity to serve as managing director for a water utility company on the Copper Belt for 6 years, for two full terms. And after that I completed my PhD while I was working, and I come back to lecture in the School of Engineering. I have a degree in PhD in construction economics from the University of Cape Town. Thank you very much. I think when you say good location, we need to explain that so that people understand what you mean by good location, because you've got different types of residential areas: high cost, low cost, medium cost. But I think what is cross-cutting amongst all 3 categories is that you want an area that has got the services. Services are key. So if you want to build a house in an area that is not serviced, by services what I mean is that areas that have been provided with a sewerage network, a water supply network, stormwater drainage, and good roads. So that is a serviced area. So if you find either it's low cost, medium cost, or high cost, if those facilities are there, then I would classify it as a good location. First and foremost, you need to understand what you want to do. If you want to build a house, what house fits your needs? And once you establish that at family level, then you have to get somebody to plan the house layout for you. They'll know how to position the toilets, the kitchen, the dining room, the bedrooms, etc., etc. And once that is done, they'll be able to make a plan. And this plan has got to be an economical design, to be something that you should be able to afford. So back and forth, you and the planner will have discussions, and then this planner is a trained person who will prepare the plans for you and the associated specifications. Once that is done, I think it's for you now to look for the resources, and this same person can link you to estimators or quantity surveyors who will cost your house, and then you look for the resources, and then you're good to go. Yes, before I come to that, let me go back to the issue of the house. Why it's important to engage a trained person. This person will prescribe an item something known as specifications. What are we saying? This person will indicate on the plans that, for example, the blockwork should be such that every 3 courses should have wall reinforcement, or what they call brick force, that the blocks on the slab should sit on a damp-proof course. Now, these are technical terms, but you see, what happens is that if these aspects are not included and they're neglected, then what happens is that you'll find your walls will start to crack, or moisture will start to appear on the walls if you don't use a damp-proof course. And also, if you don't compact the surface beneath the slab with hardcore, with proper materials, then you find that your slab starts to crack, and then all your investment is lost. So it's very, very important that you use somebody who's trained to specify the plans for you, to draw the plans and make the specifications. Now, coming to the services, I think you asked about the importance of and the cost of the services. Now, if you look at historically in Zambia, and I'll be specific in Lusaka, you got areas like Chunga Township. It was built 1971-72, and I remember I saw Chunga being developed during that time. I was alive that time. And you will notice that Chunga was serviced. The city council then did provide drainage. They provided a sewerage network. they provide the water supply network, but electricity wasn't provided. So all the houses that were built initially in Chunga relied on wood-fired stoves for cooking, etc. But it was a well-planned area, extremely well-planned area. So even in a private setting, for example, if you have an estate where people are being sold plots, I would encourage that the local authorities insist that these areas should be provided with the requisite services. Why? For example, if you have plots which are not serviced, and the area's got a lot of clay material, clay soils, then you'll find that for 3 months you'll not be able to access your yard because your car gets stuck. So you have to park your car maybe 1 kilometer away, and you'll be very much inconvenienced, you and your children, if you've got children, that is. And also the issue of putting a borehole and a septic tank for your own, because if the area is not serviced, then everybody will have to build their own septic tank and drill their own borehole. Now, there's a myth right now that most of the houses that you find in Osaka, people have built septic tanks. But if you look at the specification of a septic tank, most of those, 90% of those, I'm very sure, do not meet the standard of septic tank. They're actually just holding tanks, because the septic tank has got to be built according to certain specification. So it means that the sewage or what is flushed from the houses, from the toilets, from the kitchen, is not treated. And what happens is that it just flows through that tank and then permeates into the ground after it leaves the tank. Now what happens after that is that when it permeates in the ground, you drill a borehole 5 meters away, 10 meters away. So you start drinking contaminated water. Yes, in the initial phases, it will not look dangerous. You will not see the problems. But with time, when the soil becomes saturated with this contaminated water, it's going to affect the health of your family. You could even have people developing cancers later in life as a result of drinking water that is contaminated. In fact, normally the rules are such that, or the regulations are such that, a borehole should be at least 60 meters away from a facility like a septic tank or a pit latrine. But you can't achieve that in these small plots that we have. So I would encourage very much that the regulators, like local authorities, insist that a new area has to have serviced facilities. And also, you talked also about the issue about not tar road, but a road to access your plot. Yes, we said that if the area is not serviced, it will be difficult to access your road, but your plot. But when you have an area that is serviced, the cost of the road is equally shared amongst all the residents. Even those who are living at the extreme end, they pay the same price for the road. So the cost is equally distributed, so it becomes affordable for everybody. And you find the quality of life of the persons there will be very high. I'll give an example, like in Botswana, that's what happens. Areas are serviced, whether publicly arranged or privately arranged. They are normally serviced, and people just go there to build their houses according to specifications, well regulated, and you find that the area looks very organized. I think what you're looking at is more like a small holding scenario. Yes, it is expensive, but small holding, the dynamics are different. Because if somebody's got a 5-acre plot, he'll drill a borehole. The borehole cost varies. In Zambia, we've seen a big change in the price of boreholes because of the arrival of many drilling companies from India. They've actually pushed the price of the borehole down. However, that is only within 50 meters depth. After 50 meters, it becomes very, very expensive. That's how their pricing structure is. The issue of access to amenities, school, well, if you're living far out of town, then you have to be prepared to travel to those places. You might need to have a vehicle or something to take you there. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to access these services. So, coming back to a serviced area, I'll give a very good example of one of the best areas in this country that was, it was built as a township actually. It's an area called Matero in Lusaka. If you look at the Matero, the original Matero, it was built such that the plots were of a reasonable size. A police station was built in Matero. Shopping areas were properly designated. Social places were designated. Shops were designated. Schools were designated, including a cemetery and a clinic. Matero was well designed, well planned. Of course, it's assumed a different character because of the sale of houses and unregulated expansion has caused problems to Matero. But if you look at the original Matero, the one I knew when I was young, it was a well-planned area. So I would also say that, or advocate that in areas that are newly developed housing areas, publicly driven or privately driven, you must strive to put in facilities like a school, different types of schools depending on the population, police posts, and shops, etc. Because that will make life for those persons easier. And also it serves as a growth point, because this is how towns develop. It starts with a small settlement, and then with time it grows into a bigger settlement or a small town.